What's up, everybody? Jason from Straight Edge Lights and Gear, and we got a flashlight review for you today, and it is going to be on this NITECORE EDC23. Guys, this thing is it's a pretty cool, slick little light, and I wanted to get out here, get this tabletop portion of this going for you guys, and then when it gets dark tonight, we'll do the second half of the flashlight review like we always do. Okay, we always start off with the daytime, kind of show you the light, how it works, how everything's handling on this bad boy, and then from there we kind of when it gets dark, we'll just kind of get right into showing the lights, and I'll explain my process there to you guys. I have where I film from here to the far corner of my yard is about 60 yards, and we'll talk about that when we get to that point. Okay, guys, I don't want to jump too far ahead here, but guys, I picked up this NITECORE EDC23. I went to SHOT Show 2025 in Vegas, and came across NITECORE USA, the USA division's booth, and they were showing me a bunch of their lights. Very cool video. Make sure you go check that out. I have the whole NITECORE video there. It's pretty good. Dario over there does a good job explaining a bunch of the newer lights that they have, and the EDC23 was one of those, and I was like, that's a very cool light. I like it. I like a lot of the features that it has. I like the way that you can carry it and things like that. So let me show you guys how the box comes. I accidentally tore the bottom of my box open, but whenever you order one of these lights, this is going to be the box that it comes in. Has a bunch of different info kind of all over the box about the light, and on the back, tells you, about your OLED display that you have here in the front, your lockout switch, your fast charging port, your pocket clip, anti-slip design. You got a built-in 1500 milliamp Li-ion battery, a lanyard. You got your USB charging cord. Kind of tells you your max output of 2500 lums, max intensity. Looking at 20,720 candela, I believe that is. Excuse me, guys, I'm getting over a cold. You got a max distance of 280 meters, impact resistance of 2 meters, IP rating of IP54. So kind of get a lot of really good just general info just off the outside of the box, which I think is cool. Let me pull this out so you guys can see kind of what came in the box. So the box is empty. When you get it, your flashlight will be, tucked away into like this thing right here. So you pop that out. Your lanyard will be separate as well. And then when you open this up, you have your charging cord here, your USB-A to USB-C charging cord. This will work with like your standard USB-C charging cord that you might be using for your newer iPhone, or if you have an Android, your USB-C charging cord for those will charge this light up as well. So you don't have to worry about, have to use that special cord. Man, sorry guys. Like I said, I went to Blasio, Texas, and caught a nasty cold and flu, so now I'm still kind of getting over it. But when you do get in here, you will get this little card in here that has like a little QR code on there for NITECORE, kind of like your warranty card. You can put your serial number and stuff like that on there, and then you have your instruction manual here as well. So you can kind of open this up, and this will give you a nice kind of big overview of the light in multiple languages. So it's kind of cool, so no matter where you're at, if you're somewhere around the world there, I'm sure you can figure out how to use this light in just about any language. Now I'm going to open this up because I do have to kind of go over a little bit of the specs here on this light for you guys. So you have a few different light modes here, and you have a lockout switch. And the lockout switch, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, is very important with this light. If you pick one of these lights up, you need to use that lockout switch, okay? And I will explain why. So, and it has to deal with the fact that this light can get pretty damn hot, okay? When you're running that turbo mode, right? Got the turbo right here. This thing can get fairly hot fairly quickly. And if you accidentally turn this on in your pocket or something like that, which is easy to do because these buttons right here are kind of raised. They're not necessarily, this one's raised and this one isn't, but it would be fairly easy to turn this light on in your pocket. Now, turbo mode will only last for a certain amount of time before it steps down. And turbo mode's the one that really gets the warmest. But let's say you do, let's get this to 1100. So let's say you have this thing preset to 1100. it's in your pocket and somehow your longha, your gut accidentally turns this on, right? Well, this is going to be on in your pocket. Even the 1100 looms is going to get pretty warm after a while. So that's why it's very important that you have the lockout on. So that way, if you're in your pocket or something like that, something doesn't accidentally press. Like even I'm just barely pressing it and it's kind of on, right? It's important to have that lockout on. So that way nothing, any accidental touches on the top, it's not going to turn your light on. So make sure you always use the lockout. It's very easy to use. It's not a complicated hold for 2 seconds, let go, hold for 4 seconds, let go, like crazy button lockout mode that I've seen on some lights, which those are so irritating. I don't like them, but it's a very simple switch, light on. Okay. And I got a really good story about this light from Blade Show, Texas. And I'll tell it to you. But so you got a couple of different modes. You have your standard modes where when you basically run through your modes utilizing this top switch right here. So let me get my phone up right here so I can kind of see, make sure that I'm showing you guys that you can see this. So when you kind of half press, it's flickering, right? That's 15, kind of quick press it, 65, 200, and 1100. So you kind of just do a little half press and then you cycle through. Now let's say I want 1100. So I just turned the light on. You can see it on there. I did a full press. Now if I full press it off, the light's off. If I full press it on, it's back to 1100. Full press off, full press on, I'm still at 1100. So if you fully press it on whatever setting you're on, like 1100, every time you full press that light, it's going to come on to 1100. Okay. Now, if you accidentally half press it, right, instead of doing a full press, like I'm going to full press it, turn it on to my 1100. Oh, I half pressed it. Well, now I'm cycling back through my settings again. So you want to make sure that this is kind of how the memory mode works. Like in my opinion, I set it to 1100. If you want to run 1100, you got to full click it on and then full click it off. Okay. That's going to keep you in 1100. If you turn it on, let's say I'm at 1100, but I accidentally half click, now I just turned it down to, 15? And now I got to cycle back up to my 1100. So you do definitely have to get used to the fact that this isn't necessarily a monetary light switch. It's a full on, full off switch. Okay. If you want to run your straight turbo mode with a monetary, that's where you're utilizing the secondary back button right here. Okay. Because if you half click it, now you're running, bam, full 2500. And then if you full press it, full send it, you're going straight to strobe. Okay. So if you're going to use this light for monetary purpose, like momentarily purposes, you got to get used to the fact that you're going to be half clicking that bottom button going full turbo mode. You can kind of do a monetary mode with the full clicks. So let's set this to, we're going to set this to 200. Okay. So you turn it on, you're on 200 and you're like, oh man, that's too bright. I need to check my paperwork right here. Well, if you do half press this top button, see I'm at 200. If I half press it, it'll step it all the way down to its lowest level. And if I let it go, it goes back to 200. I don't know if you guys can see that. See, half press, it lowers it, full mode, lowers, full mode. The only thing is you're not getting the ability of momentarily turning it on and off with a switch. Not unless you run full turbo with the big button on the back. So for some people that might be a pro or it might be a con. I think a lot of it has to depend on what you're utilizing light for. I know if you're working law enforcement, things like that, having that momentary on-off switch is pretty important. And you may not necessarily need full-blown 2500 momentarily, right? Or you may not necessarily need the full-blown strobe. And the problem I think you kind of run into a little bit with this light is in a high stress situation, being able to half click is going to probably go out the window because you have to really, really train a lot. Because when you're under a hard use or stressful situation where like your life's in danger, your fine motor skills kind of go out the window. Okay. Unless you train, right? your fine motor skills are going to go out the window, and you're going to go gross motor skills. And so your natural instinct, if you're fighting for your life, is you're going to be mashing this thing. You're just going to be doing whatever it is, and you're going to be running full strobe. Unless you're just mash it on and it's just on and you're having to fight, do whatever it is you need to do, run and gun, whatever happens. I don't know. Like, that's where I think this light is not, I wouldn't say this isn't necessarily a full-blown duty use light. It is a good, I would say, a good backup light for duty use. I think for duty use, you would want something with definitely with a simpler interface with a straight monetary on-off type system. And NITECORE makes a ton of lights that are great for that. So, and I think I have one in the house. I'm going to do a review on, actually I do have one in the house I'm going to do a review on, I think would make a pretty darn good duty light, and this would make a great backup light for that light. So keep that in mind. But I know it's kind of weird. Flashlights are a little different in the fact that there are so many flashlights out there and there's so many different things. I think you do really need to take into consideration what you need that light for, because some lights are going to excel where others will fail, if that makes sense. Okay. This, and when I say fail, I don't mean it's not going to work for you. It's just not going to do the lighting task you needed to do for that particular situation. Okay. There's work lights and there's duty lights, in my opinion. And then there's this like kind of little in between area where it's like what we'd call the EDC light, everyday light. It could maybe operate as both. But those lights are kind of not, they're a smaller group of lights in that category, I would say. So just keep that in mind. Utilize the light for the purpose that you need it for, right? If that makes sense. But for just walking around every day, doing all kinds of stuff, this does fill a decent role of being that EDC light for, hey, I just need this to look for this or whatever. Or it can come in handy in a maybe possibly a bad situation. And I walked myself pretty much kind of into a bad situation at Blade Show, Texas. Okay. So I'll tell you a quick little story and why I was so thankful I had this light. Got to my hotel. It's 7 o'clock at night. I'm hungry. I just flew from California to Texas. I'm hungry, but I don't see any restaurants or anything immediately around my hotel. Okay. And I don't have a car, right? So I asked the nice lady at the counter, hey, is there some place around here that I can get something to eat? She goes, well, if you go just down this road over here, there's a Jack in the Box about 10 minutes away, about 10-minute walk. I'm like, okay. So she goes, hey, you just go out here, you turn right, you're going to go under 2 bridges and it'll be right there on the left. And I'm like, easy enough. Awesome. So I take off walking, right? And so I have my flashlight in my fanny pack. I'm like, cool, got my flashlight. I did have enough time to unpack, and I had my one of my knives on me. I think I had my Tops knives, El Pionero on me, and actually I had a couple of knives on me because I was going to Blade Show, Texas, right? So I'm walking down the road, and it's kind of a downtown area, and it was I wouldn't say it was a horrible area there in Fort Worth, but it wasn't maybe the best area as well. And as I'm walking out of an underpass, kind of up, how you have the overpasses, and sometimes people tuck themselves up into there. This, for lack of a better term, a homeless person comes walking down the thing, kind of towards me, and he's kind of throwing some stuff like rocks or something, but I don't know. He's not necessarily throwing them at me. He's just kind of throwing them. A little weird, right? And as I'm walking, he kind of falls in behind me. So I'm like, okay, there's nobody else around, right? It's dark out, and I'm like, what's going on here? So as I come up to the first intersection, you got to push the button for, let the light turn, the little green sign you can walk, right? I step off to the side because I don't like this guy being behind me. And I step off to the side, and I'm already kind of reaching, just kind of resting my hand on my pocket, and I had already gotten my flashlight out as well. Right. So I had my flashlight in one hand, my other hand, and I'm waiting. There's no cars coming. I could have easily just walked across the street. I stopped and I was waiting for the light to turn green because I wanted that guy to go ahead of me. He does. He goes ahead of me. And he, doesn't say anything. He doesn't say hi, nothing. He just goes, right? I'm like, okay, cool. So I waited for the light to turn green. One, to give the guy some time to get ahead of me. And, you know, just give some space, safety, right? Just being safety conscious. So I start walking. I come up to the first like real bridge that she was talking about that I had to go under. Yeah, I had to walk through a black tunnel. There was no way to walk alongside the road to go under this bridge. You had to walk through a tunnel that's built into the bridge, and it was pitch black. There was no lights in there at all. And this dude had walked in there ahead of me. Now, this is where I screwed up. I will be completely honest, guys. I should have just turned my happy ass around and went back to the hotel and ordered a pizza. No, I stupidly was like, I'm going to Jack in the Box. And this is where I was so glad I had this light on me. Because, man, I turned this sucker off. I put it to that 1100 looms, you know, turned it on. And I was lighting up that tunnel. And I had my finger on the back button. And I was ready to do the 2500 smash it strobe. And I, you know, I felt bad. I mean, kind of, I didn't want to sound paranoid, guys, but I was walking with my LP and arrow in this hand, and I had the strobe lighting up the tunnel like this, because as I'm walking, there's bricks and stuff on the ground, and there's pillars in this tunnel that, honestly, this guy could have been hiding behind, ready to pop out and hit me with a brick or stab me or shoot me or whatever. But luckily with this light, it lit it up, man. I mean, if this dude was a few pillars down, I was going to see him pop out. And I was so thankful I had this flashlight. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a firm believer that no matter what light you decide to choose to carry, you should always carry a flashlight on you, because you never know what kind of weird situation you might have to walk into or try to walk out of. So carry a flashlight on you, everybody. They're super small and convenient now. There's really no reason why you shouldn't be carrying a flashlight with you. So luckily, made it all the way through the tunnel. Guy wasn't there. He kept going. I wound up seeing, as I came out of the tunnel, he was up ahead across the street, disappeared. Made it to Jack in the Box. Ubered my way back to the hotel. I was not walking back through that tunnel. So just so I know, it's kind of a little long-winded story, but it is a very important story, I think, in regarding the aspect that carrying a flashlight is super important. Now, I know I got a little off topic, but I'm sorry, but I just thought that was important. So anyway, you do get this cool lanyard here that comes with the light as well. It's got a wrap. It's got a nice little thing. So you can actually kind of clip this, lock it into your bag or onto your belt or something like that. You can utilize this pocket clip to carry it in your pocket. The one thing I will say that I wish it was a little bit more of a deep carry pocket clip. It does stick out a little bit of your pocket, like so. And again, that's where that lockout switch is important, because with this sticking out of your pocket a little bit, even if you just rest your hand on here, it's easy to, you know, just accidentally kind of turn the light on, as you can see that, you know. So I wish it was a little bit more of a deeper pocket clip, but sometimes what I do like to do is I'll just drop this completely in my pocket, and I have the little lanyard sticking just a little bit out, so I can just grab the lanyard, pull it out, and now I'm good to go. I'll just come in here and do whatever it is I got to do. I do really like the fact that as you're cycling through these modes here, as you can see, let's see here, it says 1100. It'll also tell you like how much battery life you kind of have left on running those modes. Interesting, when I'm looking at my phone and my camera while I'm doing that, this looks like it's flashing. I don't know if that's what it looks like actually on camera. You know what I mean? But it will kind of tell you like how much time you have left in that certain mode. So it's very cool. I did, excuse me, get distracted. I was going to tell you guys here. So in turbo, you're running 2,500 looms. It does have a timer on it, which is about, I would say like 40 seconds, I think. You do have a distance of 280 meters with a 20,720 candela. That's on turbo. And again, turbo will not stay on for a long time because it does get pretty hot. It will step down, and then you have to kind of repress it and start the cycle over again. On high, you're running 1,100 looms. You have a runtime of 1 hour and 30 minutes, 185 meter distance, 8,800 candela. Mid, you have 200 looms, 3 hours and 45 minute runtime, 90 meter distance, 2,000 candela. Low, you have 65 looms for 11 hour runtime, 50 meter distance, 680 candela. Ultra low, the 15 looms, you can run this thing for 39 hours, 24 meters for 145 candela. And then on the strobe, it's 2500, but it doesn't give you any runtime or anything like that. So, you know, it's got some, definitely got some really good brightness levels to it. And we will show that at night. And we'll kind of run through the, like the mode, the settings, show you guys what those look like at night. Real quick, you do have your charging port here on the side, this little rubber piece. So you open this up, and then you got your USB-C here on the side. You guys can see that. Now, one thing I will say is when you do take this little cover off, you have this tiny little piece right here that's holding it on. Be careful that you don't pull this thing out too far, because you will yank this cover off, and it is it's not that it's impossible to put back on, but it is a pain to put back on. And ask me how I know, because I accidentally yanked it off. I was able to get it back in, but it was not very easy. So definitely be careful when you take this off, open it up, that you don't yank the whole thing off. But there it is, man. This is the EDC23. Like I said, I've been carrying this for a little while now, and I'm super glad I have been. That's been a very, very good light to use. And one thing I will show you guys, since if you are new to my channel, let me pick you guys up here, give you a good look at me from up here. Look, hey, how you doing? I do need to fix that a little bit better so I can get out of here easy. So when we are doing the light test, this is what we're going to do. Excuse me. I'm going to flip you around here. This is my yard. All the way over there, there's 2 chairs and those 2 trees. That's 60 yards, okay? Just past this tree right here is just past where that little bucket is. That's actually 20 yards. And then a little bit farther out, there's a, what I do is I put 2 white propane tanks out, one at 20, one at 40. And then that way, you know, where the 20, 40 yard markers are. And then all the way to the back corner 60. I like this big area because it gives you a really good opportunity to see how much this light can light up, like this area here, all the way out to the back on the different light modes. Okay, so when we come back at night, there'll be a white propane tank at 20, a white propane tank at 40, and then you'll have the chairs back there representing the 60 yard marker. Okay, guys? So a little bit later at night when it gets dark, we're going to come back out here and we're going to light up this backyard with the EDC23 so you guys can see how it operates. All right, everybody, stay tuned. All right, everybody, it's gotten dark. We're out here underneath my gazebo still. I still got my lights on right here. These kind of run off solar, so they stay on, but they're not super bright, and it kind of lets me be able to see what I'm doing. But we got the EDC23 here ready to go. We're going to flip that lockout mode off, and we're going to flip this camera around. And now remember, guys, I have the first propane tank is 20 yards. The second propane tank is 40 yards. And then all the way out in that corner where those 2 trees are is where we're at with the 60. Okay. So just keep that in mind when we're doing this test or this light. So we're going to turn the light on. We're going to utilize the top power button right here. So we're going to turn the light on, and it automatically went to 1100 because that was the last setting. So now I have it set to low mode. So we got 29 hours and 13 minutes of runtime. So as you can see here on the low mode, kind of see the tree over here. You can see the propane tank a little bit, the first tank at 20 yards. You know, visually, I'm not sure through the camera if it's the same representation, but I can see the tanks there. If I was looking for it, I'd be able to find it. I can kind of see the second tank a little bit. It's very, very faint though. And then all the way out to that 60 yards where the trees are, I can't see. If you can see over here a little bit, I'll turn this. You can see kind of the windmill that was right there, the flower bed. And then we'll kind of flip over here. You can kind of see these bushes and stuff right here. And then like kind of directly in front, it's actually pretty good. It's not bad. So 15, I mean, it's the moonlight admin mode, if you will. So we're going to turn this up. We're going to kick this up. Now this is 65 looms. So you can definitely see the tank a little bit better. I can see the second tank at 40 yards. Kind of like I can see the first tank with the low mode, right? So I still can't really see out to 60. You can kind of see the tree right here. You can definitely see this stuff a little bit better. See the bush and stuff over here. So that is 65 looms. Now we're up to 200. I can definitely see the first tank, and I can definitely see the second tank now. I'm starting to reach out to that 200, or not 200, that 60-yard mark. I can tell there's a couple of trees over there. It's lighting it up. It's kind of flooding out the yard a little bit, if we can see that. So it's actually doing a pretty good job. You kind of see these bushes really well, that tree. And then you got the windmill and stuff right here. So everything up close. But that's a pretty good little throw right there. That's not bad. And then now we're at 1100. Definitely see the two tanks. And now I can actually see out there to the two chairs that are in the corner. I can light up the two trees that are over there, and then you can definitely see up in the bushes. And this has like a nice big flood kind of light. It's not necessarily like a spotlight. It's a nice flood with a nice, there's not like really a direct hot spot in the middle, as you can see there. So we're going to turn that off. Now we're going to go to the turbo mode. So this is the half click on that bottom button right here. Bottom button right there. So half click. That's 2,500 looms, and you can definitely see the chairs. You're definitely lighting up a lot more. You can tell it's way brighter. And then it just stepped down because it does have a little power bar. You can see this little power bar, how it's charging back up. Bam, now I'm ready to go. Turbo mode again. And if you look at the power bar, you can see that it's depleting, right? So once it depletes, boom, it steps down, and you're back to like 1,100. Let that power bar build back up, and you can go back to your 2,500 mode, like so. Now, if I press and smash the button down, bam, you got super strobe going right there, as you guys can see. And it kind of strobes through. Now, there is no power bar for the strobe. I think it will continuously just strobe until, you know, you don't need it to strobe anymore. So that's pretty much how you kind of run through that's the lighting cycles on the light. Again, whatever the last mode was that you were on, so I was on 1100. Bam, turn off, 1100. Let's set it to 65. Turn it off, turn it on, I'm back to 65. So just bear that in mind when you're doing this, little half clicks. Now let's say I'm at 1100 and I'm like, oh, I need to, again, read some papers in front of me. If I half click this button, this first button right here, if I half click it, it'll actually step it down to the 15 loom for you, and let it go, and it goes back to 1100. So that is about as close to momentary lighting that you can get with this light. Okay, the half click on the turbo, or if you need to step it down from a higher lumen when you have the light on. Guys, this thing does a really good job of lighting stuff up, and I'm telling you, I had my buddy strobe me with my eyes closed. I had my eyes closed as high as I could get, and I was still seeing spots for a few minutes afterwards, even with my eyes closed. I mean, this thing, when you're running on turbo, it lights stuff up, and it is very, very bright. So definitely it's a good mix, like I said, between that kind of duty use and that EDC use, right? It's kind of got a little bit of both worlds. Is it the best tactical duty light? No. It's going to be a good EDC light no matter what, all day long. So I think this is a good go-between, between, depending on what you're using it for, what you're doing, right? So definitely highly recommend picking up this EDC23. It is a great light. I haven't really even had to charge it since I initially did the first charge on it, and I've had it for probably about a month now, and I've been running this thing, and it's still, the power is still great, and it's nice being able to look at that display screen and see how much time you have left with that light, and also where the power is at. So definitely a cool feature to have on here as well. So guys, definitely go check out, hit those links below, go pick yourself up a NITECORE EDC23, and stay tuned, because I'm gonna have some more light reviews coming soon. All right, everybody, stay safe, stay bright, and carry on.